Hello, my name's Dan Paulsell. I'm the Alumni Coordinator here at AKUA. Start off, Kevin, thank you for being
no
here.
problem.
We'll just jump right into the questions. What brought you to AKUA?
Well, I was in a really bad spot. I totaled one of my cars, and that was actually on purpose. I was just so sick of the life that I was living that I didn't want to live anymore. On top of that, my wife left me. She moved out a month prior to me checking myself in. I broke my leg in 4 places, so I was living in a home by myself, incapable of even walking to do anything. I was just in a bad spot. My dad would come over to my house just to sit with me and make sure I didn't stop breathing. My dad found AKUA, and I'm glad he did, because I've been to a few other treatment centers, and this is by far the best one that I've ever been to.
If you're willing to explain a little more of what the emotional spot was like.
Pretty much to sum it up, I wasn't happy with myself. From the minute I woke up, I had to numb my insides, because I didn't like anything about me. I hurt people, I lied, I stole, I did everything that a good human being is not supposed to do, and it really just took a giant, it was a giant weight on my soul. I just couldn't find happiness within myself.
What would you say is your greatest takeaway from AKUA?
The second day I was there, so I didn't know any of the guys yet, and we were having like an open discussion in one of the rooms with everyone, and someone had told me, for this to work, you have to be open, honest, and willing. I brought up some things that I had never brought up before, and I was able to sit there and just cry in front of 14 dudes, and the reaction I got was not what I expected. Some of them cried with me. They all came up and hugged me after. I never was able to show a weak side to me. I could never be vulnerable.
What would you want other people to know about recovery?
Never judge yourself with what you're going through or the hand you've been dealt. If you think you have it bad, just remember, it could always be worse, and if you think you're alone in it, you're not, because there's probably someone who's gone through the exact same thing, if not worse than what you have. What do you have to lose? All you could really go from where you're at is up.
So Kevin, you've been to other treatment facilities prior to AKUA.
Yes, I've been to a few different ones.
Okay. What do you think makes AKUA special or different?
I would definitely say the interest they take in their clients. They actually really do care. Previous treatment centers that I've gone to, you could tell, the employees, the therapists, they were there, but they didn't want to be there. They were there for their paycheck. It's easy to tell if, someone takes interest in someone that's struggling. At AKUA, it's they really dive down into the root causes of the issues that you might be dealing with. It kind of brings to light a lot of things that personally I didn't see myself, nor did I see at any of the other treatment centers, because, it was more of just a safe place. Yeah, you can't use drugs here, you can't drink here, we drug test you, but that's it. One thing that I really liked was being able to meet with a counselor, a therapist once a week, and really just kind of talk about my issues that I'm dealing with, and to, actually have professional help. They understand what I was going through.
So Kevin, what would you say is the biggest difference, if you could kind of capture AKUA and what you got here, what you gained here?
Being able to be comfortable in my own skin. I never really liked myself, and they kind of showed me how to love myself. Not just the staff members, but clients too, There was a lot of things that I could have, gone out on if it wasn't for me being in this one specific spot. they just gave me a greater understanding of myself.
All right. So, Kevin, you mentioned earlier that deep dive with your therapist, that ability to look at underlying causes, conditions, maybe roles that you had structured in your head of this is the way life is supposed to go, or how you view it, your perception of it, and you were able to maybe dig into that and look at that deeper. And that would you attribute that to your feeling of like being authentic and being real and being free from addiction?
Oh, totally. You know, being free from addiction and clear-minded, you know, definitely opens up the mind to see everything from a different angle, you know, that, you know, maybe once I wasn't able to see before because, you know, I was under the influence.
Kevin, I really want to thank you for taking the time to come out and participate in this and be a part of this and share a message with other people that might still be struggling. And I know it's not, you know, maybe necessarily in the cards of like, hey, you know what I'm going to do today is go get interviewed and share my experience and my story and my recovery. So I really appreciate you coming out and taking the time to do
Oh,
that.
anytime, Dan. You know, I just, for the person that's still struggling, you know, just give it a shot. And, you know, the way to do it is just be open, honest, and willing, you know, to give yourself to this program, because that's the only way it'll work.
All right.